So here the people were in Nashville trying to have a bite to eat at a lunch counter. I'm sorry, we can't serve you here. May we speak to the manager? Part of our discipline was that only one person spoke for the group in an action on this day. We designated Diane. Oh, in an action. On this day, we designated Diane. Okay, so they want to talk. I'm the manager. Look, it's store policy not to serve, and he says colored people here. What about the white students? Can they be served? No, I'm sorry. They're with you, so we can't serve them either. Thank you. No harsh words, no violence. No one even paid much attention as we left. When news of this student-led campaign spread, words of encouragement and support flowed in from around the country. We decided to stage our second test sit-in the following Saturday, December 5th. We don't serve colored people here. Hold up. This time, I think they were expecting us. May I speak to the manager, please? I'm sorry, it's store policy not to serve, and he says the word Negroes. Thank you. And so again, we left without incident. In January, following the winter break from school, our weekly workshop numbers swelled. We were close to ready. Hi, Katie. Though no specific date had been set for our first sit-in, as fate or the spirit of history would have it, someone else made the move for us. On Monday, February 1st, 1960, in Greensboro, North Carolina, 4 freshmen from North Carolina A&T took seats at the downtown Woolworth's lunch counter. One of them had read the FOR 4 comic about Dr. King and Montgomery, which got them talking about nonviolent action. I'm sorry, but it's against store policy to serve colored people, they said. The next day, 19 students, black and white, had joined the original 4 at Woolworths. By Wednesday, the number had swelled to 85, and similar sit-ins had formed in Raleigh and Durham. A young North Carolina minister, Douglas Moore, was a friend of Jim Lawson and called to encourage us. Jim Lawson was the one that gave that talk about nonviolence that helped our congressman understand the importance of this movement. They've been preparing, that's right, we've had 2, they're nearly ready, so these are the practice ones they're talking about. On February 7th, 1 week after the Greensboro sit-ins, we began ours. Okay, so this is back in Washington in 2009, so this is more recent history. Okay, I've got to go. Do you all have everything? I think we're all set, Bob. Are you going to be warm enough? It was 19 degrees on our car's thermometer, and it's not even supposed to get above freezing today. Do you have a scarf? Gloves? I have gloves, and I think I have a hat somewhere too. Here it is. Oh, you can't wear that. Why not? People need to see you. They need to see your face. Do you have a scarf? Maybe a different hat? No. Here, Congressman, use this one. There, Bob, wear that. I can't take the young man's scarf. What's he gonna wear? So, our Congressman Lewis is very, very considerate. I'm going to be inside. I won't need it, sir. Seriously, take it. Thank you, brother. Okay, I'm going to wear this scarf, and I appreciate it, but you all really don't have to go to all this trouble. There was a half foot of snow on the ground in Nashville the day we first sat in, and I survived that. So here we are back. He's remembering. 11 a.m., February 7th, 1960. Okay. And here's an overview That's the complex, the buildings, the mall and things. Here's a waitress who looks tired. That says phew. Okay, so she's already tired and they come in. She's cleaning something. And then this lady comes in while she's doing dishes and says something really awful. Oh my G word, here's the N word. Ma'am, may we be served? We don't serve. And then she says the N word. And then someone puts up a poster saying counter closed. So this is a picture of what it felt like. So this is everything kind of goes dark and it says counter closed. Is everyone okay? We sat in that eerie quiet for several hours. Fine, John, a little hard to read in the dark, but we're getting enough through the windows to make do. Eventually the calm was broken. And then these are people that are racist, they don't and they swear at them. What the H is this? And then they say the N-words and say go home. What are you N-word? And then they say y'all don't belong. At about 6 that evening, word came that it was time to go. Interesting. It was like New Year's Eve. The other teams that crying, how did it go, and yay. That waitress was so scared, so she started dropping the dishes right on the floor. You wouldn't believe it's room. So it says specifically, lady. And then a lady is saying the N-word. Our numbers swelled to over 200 students for our next sit-in on Thursday, February 18th. Again, the counter was closed. That afternoon, we stayed for hours without incident, and 2 days later, we marched again. Here come this is a racist saying the N-word, which is so terrible. People were starting to notice. So then one of them is complaining, where am I supposed to eat? It didn't occur to him that was why the people were doing the sit-in, because just because of the color of their skin, they weren't allowed to eat there. All right, that night, Jim Lawson agreed to meet with the Central Committee. The store owners are asking for a moratorium on the sit-ins. They say they need some time to put together a proposal by the end of the week, so we agreed to wait. By the end of the week, we had heard nothing, so we decided that Saturday we would sit in again. Our numbers were multiplying so fast that hundreds of volunteers had not yet been trained in the way of nonviolence, so I wrote up a basic list of do's and don'ts to be distributed. Do not. Don't strike back or curse if abused. 2. Don't laugh out or hold conversations with floor walker, or leave your seat until your leader has given you permission to do so, or block entrances to stores outside or the aisles inside. Okay, so these are the do's. Do show yourself friendly and courteous at all times. Do sit straight, always face the counter. Do report all serious incidents to your leader. Do refer information seekers to your leader in a polite manner. Do remember the teachings of Jesus Christ, Mahatma Gandhi, and Dr. Martin Luther King. Love and nonviolence is the way. May God bless each of you. On the morning of February 27th, 1960, we gathered to hear Will Campbell, a white minister who had been run out of Oxford, Mississippi for playing ping pong with a black man. The day before, we'd gotten word from Nashville's chief of police that anyone involved in further protests would be arrested. There were also rumors of planned attacks by young whites, which the police did not intend to stop. So on this particular morning, Will Campbell had come to tell us what he had heard from his contacts in the white community. If you attempt to sit in the business community, the local officials and the authorities will all pull back. They will let people and the rough element in the white community come into the stores and beat you. But it is your decision. We knew we couldn't let the threat of violence stop us. We were going to sit in. My group targeted Woolworths, and then there's the N-word again. There's some of the racists are saying go home, and then calling them chicken. No sooner did we take our seats at the upstairs counter than some young men began attacking the group downstairs. We immediately went down to join our brothers and sisters. So this is a physical fight at this point. And they're just yelling at them. Violence does beget violence, but the opposite is just as true. Fury spends itself pretty quickly when there's no fury facing it. The beating subsided. The group at Cress's faced humiliation. Chattanooga is written on the back of this person's shirt. And then someone is pouring something on this man's head. At McClellan's, Paul Leprade drew particular attention for being white. The police, conspicuously absent while we were being beaten, arrived quickly after the mob wore themselves out. If you do not move from your seats and leave this establishment, you will be placed under arrest. We didn't leave. I was not afraid. So this is the officer saying, all right, then I'm placing you under arrest for disorderly conduct, they call it. I felt free, liberated, like I had crossed over. So people talk about that as an experience of renewal. We wanted to change America, to make it something different, something better. So these are things that people are saying. And then this is the singing. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. That's one of the very important songs that helps people as they're being abused so that they feel better. There were so many of us to arrest that they drove us off to jail. We filled every paddy wagon the police had in Nashville. February 27th, 1960 was my first arrest, the first of many. We were jubilant as we filled the jail cells. We shall all be free, we shall all be free someday. Surrounded by so many of our friends, we felt like prisoners in a holy war. We are not alone. And then they say, someday. Back at the lunch counters, police could hardly keep up with the waves of students quickly filling the empty seats. No sooner would one group be arrested than another would take its place. So this is the last page for this installment. I just want to let you know that 82 of us went to jail that day. Okay, to be continued.